about. When you sit down to read your Bible, you can decide where you're going to read it, right? You can pick it up anywhere. For instance, if you were to pick the story up in Matthew chapter 1, you would be reading the story of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, right? Arguably the most famous story in the history of the world. From there, you would read about his life, about his death, about his resurrection, about the birth of the church, about the way that, Christianity spreads across the known world at the time. You'd get to the book of Revelation and you would read that there's an end coming one day for us to believe in, right? Like you would read that at the end of the Bible, but it really only covers a fairly short amount of time. But if you were to pick the Bible up and open it to the first part of the Bible, in the Old Testament, you would read some things that will blow your mind. If you've never read it, the goal for this series, the win for this series, is for you to just get up in this Bible. Get in it, read it, learn it, ask questions about it, read it with your group. There's some crazy stories that we're going to try to push you to. The Old Testament covers thousands of years of human history. There's lots of different cultures. Geographically, there's lots of different places represented. There's stories of war and conquest. There's poetry. There's magic. There's sacrifices. There's animals that talk. There's witches. Like that's not, I'm not trying to tell you about like some movie trailer or some video game with levels to play. Like I'm telling you about the stuff that's in the Bible. And if we were to just pick the Bible up in Matthew chapter 1 and try to read about Jesus, that would be beneficial for us, but we would miss out on everything that God did for the thousands of years on the earth before Jesus showed up. And so for the next 3 weeks of this series, we're breaking down the Old Testament into 3 big movements to hopefully give us an understanding of the story arc from Genesis chapter 1 until Matthew chapter 1 when Jesus shows up. We're going to learn about creation. We're going to learn that you and I were made specifically by God, but so were the first humans. We're going to learn about God's people. God chooses a people for himself, and then they end up on a journey in a foreign land. Then God brings them out into a specific place for them to live forever. He gives them leaders. He gives them laws to follow. He gives them homes to live in. They turn their back on God and they end up again in a foreign land. God delivers them. In the meantime, there's all sorts of crazy things that happen. But through it all, we see one giant story arc, and it's that God is both good and faithful to keep his promises. And so please, over these next few weeks, join us, not just at Fuse, but join us as we dig deep into the Bible to learn about God, to learn about the story of God's people in the Old Testament, to learn about the heart of God and his faithfulness to us, that we can trust his promises now because of the way he operated back then. We love you guys. We can't wait to dive into the Old Testament for the next few weeks.